everyone, it's Celeste again, and it has been a while. I look back at my last full vlog, and it was sometime in 2019, and things have been strange, honestly. To get from where I was in that vlog to where I am now, well, for one, pretty soon after I made that video, we moved to Clay County, Kentucky. And then after that, we moved to several places in Ohio. Then we ended up in Georgetown, Ohio, and then we ended up coming out here, which I currently live in a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. So just a little bit of, walking through this entire mess. A lot of you that I messaged with noticed how my life was kind of, I guess you could say, inconsistent. I was, doctor's appointments were always a mess, and there was always something going on that seemed a little bit off. Well, the long and short of it is, for whether it was because of mental illness or neglect or maliciousness, I grew up in an abusive household. I don't hate them, but, I was abused, so there's no way you can really get away from the facts when it comes to that. So, after I met my now husband, that ramped up because obviously certain people didn't want me having a mate that cared about my well-being and, was trying to encourage me to be myself and to exert my independence. So, to a large extent, from 2019 to now has been different stages of working through that. In 2020, my husband's brother moved in, and that kind of catalyzed me ultimately having to ask my mother to move out of the house. And an unsuspecting consequence of that was she took my brother and my dog, which I did give her my dog. There was a little bit of an emotional disconnect with me giving my mom that dog, where she ended up going, and me realizing that we were parting ways, because it happened in such a very, I guess you could say, staggered, gradual way. That first it was not living in the same house, then it was not talking very much, then there was several times where I tried to reconcile, and ultimately, the damage had already been done. And then when we moved here, essentially it just kind of devolved into a very unhealthy exchange, I guess you could say, because the certain members of my family moved out here trying to be close to me, but also they didn't actually abide by the wishes that they so badly wanted for me. And there was this whole consent versus stalking discussion. It was difficult, and ultimately that is when I pretty much cut ties with them. It wasn't because I was trying to be malicious, it was just more, I could tell that the relationship was very not good for me as it was, and for them, it was inhibiting what they would be able to do in their life. So, basically since I got married, I've consistently lost family members, because before I even got to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is where my last video was made. My mom and dad had just split up, so I was more than a mess because my mom and dad had this somewhat cloak and dagger relationship, so I didn't exactly know who to believe about what, and there are some things I kind of still don't know how to come to terms with. And then, we had a bunch of roommates, and after the confrontation that resulted in my mom not living with us anymore, I was not okay because it was very, my relationship with my mother was very unhealthy, but there was a lot of enmeshment trauma. There was a lot of her possessing me. She was very encouraging of the codependence type of thing. So when it was actually decided that, you get help or leave, it was very, very traumatic for me because, after all, she was my mom, and I knew the relationship wasn't healthy, but I have such a tremendous fear of confrontation with some people, and if it weren't for my husband and his brother, that never would have happened. We never would have been able to part ways at all, because she was very much your mine, not theirs, even though, I got married, so, that was hard. Living in Arizona has been, I suppose you could say, a very clarifying experience. I can't say that the climate particularly, I can't say that particularly floats my boat. I'm very much more the Northeast type person. So it has been kind of a bit of a source of irritation for me, the fact that, this tree is pretty much the only one that I can film in front of without everyone in the world seeing me, because, we live in the suburbs, so there's houses everywhere and cars and, the weird stuff that happens at night that you listen to and hope nothing horrible is happening. But it has also served as kind of a training ground for boundaries, what I believe, what I don't believe. My asthma, I found out, was a result of a combination of different things. I was reading in a book called Be Your Own Doctor by Rachel Weaver, and the asthma section mentioned quercetin taken with bromelain. So I got a combination supplement, work like a charm, but only if I don't eat any dairy at all. And I was a cheese, yogurt, milk addict, so it was very difficult for me to just completely give up dairy, but I did, and I feel pretty much normal as long as I don't get my chemical allergies triggered. I'm allergic to dairy very badly. I just recently, in the past month or so, found out that I am extremely allergic to mangoes, because I ate some mango ice cream for 2 nights in a row and ended up almost in anaphylaxis. Thank God I keep Benadryl on hand. During the time since all of this has been going on, I also hurt my back. Halloween of 2020, I crunched my tailbone off of a cast iron bathtub, which, I ended up in the hospital, and there was, a certain amount of time that I couldn't walk or move or pee, and then I was being transferred to another hospital. Some stuff popped back in place, and I got most of my function back, but nothing's been completely normal since then. So I've been going to different doctors trying to figure out what that was. So far, nothing yet. I did finally get diagnosed with asthma, and I, have a pulmonologist that I adore. And, as long as I take my vitamins, take my supplements, and I'm on, acid and allergy meds like most people with asthma are, and I stay away from what I'm allergic to, I normally don't have any issues. I don't use my inhaler hardly ever. I carry, EpiPens and inhalers, but it's not something that I have to do. Like, if I forget it, it's not like a panic. My husband also went through anaphylaxis, so we never really figured out what the cause for that was, but we did end up getting some EpiPens for him. His list is much longer than mine, because I keep lists of who's allergic to what now. One of our dogs went into anaphylaxis after a rabies shot, so that was an adventure. So lots of allergies, lots of issues. My husband's been in and out of a wheelchair since last May. Most of the time, he's like 2/3 in it now, depending on how he feels. I mean, he can go to the bathroom and maybe make himself a sandwich and stuff, but like walking around a store is a no-no. And because of how his back is, some things he can do physical therapy wise make it a lot better, and some things make it a lot worse. And there's still no consensus on what should be done and what shouldn't, and it's a mess, but life has largely calmed down. As far as where we're headed next, we don't have any immediate plans, but we live with my husband's grandparents, so in the event that they should pass, or the economy, God forbid, gets any worse here, because I mean, Phoenix is the #1 city for inflation in America, I believe. Then we would end up going to live with his mother and his father at some point, who live in Pennsylvania, which climate, tree, and culture-wise, that would be very comfortable for me, because, I understand the kind of Northeast type mentality. That's how I was raised. The climate, outside of being very muggy, I'm used to, like putting rice or crackers and stuff in salt shakers so you don't end up with a brick. I'm used to, doing all that type of stuff. And out here, it's so dry. Like, if you lick your lips in the summer here, I mean, they'll split, and it's so different. And I suppose in life, variety is good. It's a teacher, and I'm getting used to that. I haven't made a video in such a long time because I didn't know where to begin. Because, to be honest, I mean, I kept the, familial abuse I had closeted for a long time. I have been going through bouts of depression. I have PTSD. I've been trying to get, treatment for that. I've been trying to fiddle with my supplements to figure out what makes me feel as healthy as possible. And honestly, I guess making a video saying what happened and why it happened would make it more real than I was ready to allow it to be. And, I've finally, I think, gotten to a place where it's like, okay, it happened, and just because no one else knows it happened doesn't mean it didn't happen. So I was largely isolated and confined, so getting education fixed up is more of a priority. Like, I never got proper general education. I never did more than a couple driving lessons with my parents. So getting a driver's license and a GED is pretty much the first thing on the table. Herbalism is still my pride and joy. That's all I can think about doing with myself for my life, other than maybe doing some writing and obviously YouTubing. I mean, that's kind of become part of my personality at this point. The herbalism has been harder because that was one of the things that gave me independence growing up, being able to talk to people about herbalism, being able to learn about it. If you look at my channels, No Nonsense Herbalism is kind of my brand for herbal medicine, as, herbal medicine from, my studies. I review books, I do different things. But my mother had issue then with my independence, so in a lot of ways that kind of got scorched in me. So it's still hard for me to get into it without feeling a mix of pain, and I've found myself to be quite the escapist. So I'm still working on that, but I have some content planned. If you also look in my featured channels list, that's where No Nonsense is. The Shire Homestead changed as well. I'll be making a video concerning all that happened since then later, but that's going to be with me and my husband, and we have 3 dogs that are our babies. And my husband loves chickens. We want to get chickens. I want a garden. With our allergies, kind of the food prep type lifestyle is very important. Like, he's got issues with soy and iodized salt and canola oil, different things like that. So cooking is definitely interesting because you've got all these check boxes, no dairy, no mangoes, no soy, not too much salt. So growing and preparing some of that yourself is definitely much more on the economical side than having to go to someplace like Whole Foods and try to find what you need, and then you've got different things. I remember one YouTuber that I like that she has like 40 plus allergies. I will link one of her videos or her channel or something below. Was talking about this app called Fig, which it's just FIG, and you can search it on Google Play Store, and it has this kind of like you can fill out a profile of what things you can't eat or can't eat much of, and you can scan the barcode of a food and it'll tell you what that food contains that you may or may not be able to eat and stuff like that. So that is a massive time saver for me because there's just like trying to figure out, is calcium dioxide or is any other type of multiple syllable ingredient, is it dairy free? Does it have soy? Is it a type of salt? My husband also has allergies to any type of like petroleum thing, like polyethylene glycol, propylene glycol, regular PEG, like Vaseline, everything like that. It makes him like, it makes his like, it messes him up. It messes him up in so many different ways. So yeah, definitely check that out if you are allergically inclined like we are, because they also have the paid membership and stuff. Non-sponsored, but if that is something that could help you, go check it out. I don't play as many games as I used to. I know some of you still look at my old EQ2 videos when it's just like, when I think about how I made them, I do kind of like, cringe. But I do plan on making some more original ones. I play mostly Lord of the Rings online. I play EQ2 a little. And I play stuff like Dream Chronicles and East Shade, stuff like that. I try to stay with the more calming, less battle-rific ones, I guess you could say. I think I've had enough fighting in my life. And I've also been trying to dive more into my faith. I am a Christian. I think I said that before. I don't know how much Christian stuff I'm going to be sharing, but just so you know, I am a Christian. I'm not going to beat you over the head with it. I know a lot of people tend to be just like, ah, but, you know, that's not what Christians at least stand for, and that's not what I'm going to do. So, end of that. I've been trying to rebrand my channel a little bit, and this last one with the whole blue and purple flowers and stuff, I'm not sure I like it, so I might just make it a little more simple. I did make some other videos on another channel with book reviews. I plan to switch that over to here, so you'll see those in the next little bit. And my husband has a channel, also in my featured channels. Like, there's so much YouTube in my house, it's not even funny. I hope that this is enlightening, and I hope you're still with me, because, I mean, when all of this started, I think I had something like 60 subscribers, and it's like 86. Something must have, come back in style or something, because, I'm honored. And of course that means that my tongue is completely useless as to how to say that I'm honored, and thank you for subscribing. Please share, please subscribe, comment, because I want to know what you think. I appreciate you guys and your feedback. I'm still trying to get the blog straightened out. I think I'm going to stick with Blogspot. And, you can follow me there. I have Facebook, I have Twitter, Instagram, all that. Pinterest, I think I have, like, so many profiles, but I try to be as accessible as possible without, going overboard. So, I have some things in mind, but let me know what you think. Message me. I am still alive. I'm more inclined to be alive than I was, because pretty much the only neb treatments I have to do now is just saline and salt water occasionally to kind of help break stuff up. But I'll link all of the channels I've mentioned below. You can find them on my featured channels, the app, her channel, stuff like that. And thank you for watching, the whole spiel. Like, comment, subscribe, read my stuff. And I hope you have a great and wonderful day, and see you later. Bye!